Hey guys, how's it going? It's Alex of Coyote Astrology, and this is my weekly forecast for the week of June 10th, 2019. It's also my full moon video for June 17th. And as you can see, I'm not in my studio. I took another little journey. The sun is transiting my third house, so I'm going to be moving all over the place for the next month. But yeah, I'm here in Topanga. I'm in this kind of very awesome outdoor tent situation. So if you can hear the wind and the fabric moving and the light is undulating a lot, that's why. But I have my microphone, so you should be able to hear me okay. Yeah, so we have quite the week ahead of us. Very exciting, very transformative, very energizing, challenging. There's a lot going on. So we start out on June 10th with the moon in Virgo trining to Pluto before it'll go into Libra and trine Venus. But the big transit we have exact to start out this week is the sun in Gemini in opposition to Jupiter in Sagittarius, retrograde. So sun opposition Jupiter. Big deal. This is a aspect that's associated with overindulgence or going beyond our means in some way, talking too much, eating too much, drinking too much. Jupiter is, I like to think of him as kind of like the happy Buddha. He encourages us to live it up. He encourages us to really indulge in sensory enjoyment. If you have the Osho tarot deck, I think it's the card Abundance. That always reminds me of Jupiter. It's like Buddha or some deity or some little dude, and he's sitting there covered in beads and flowers and food, and it's kind of that type of energy. It's like, I want more, I want it all, I want to express, I want to experience, I want to break out of this restrictive situation, matrix, paradigm, frequency, whatever. I want more than this. I know that more is possible. This is a very awesome week full of that type of energy because we start out with that aspect exact. Again, you may have experienced it through the weekend, and it really carries us through the week to our full moon in Sagittarius on the 17th, which actually happens in the middle of the night. So it's kind of like Sunday, the 16th, is our full moon as well. So Jupiter rules Sag. So we have this very Sagittarian energy throughout this entire week. Sag is the seeker. Sag is the forever student that is never satisfied with being limited or falling into stagnation. Sagittarius loves to pick up new hobbies, have new experiences, go on the journey. Sagittarius has an inexhaustible thirst for more information. And the sun is in Gemini, and Gemini wants more information too. Gemini wants more like analytical information. Gemini is all about conversation and the exchange of data. That's why Gemini can be pretty gossipy. This is kind of gossipy energy to start out the week, but gossipy is a pretty negative word. That's the lower frequency of it. But it's really about the exchange of information. Gemini in astrology is associated with text messages and emails and phone calls. But of course, these archetypes existed prior to that technology. So think about Gemini before we had the internet. Gemini was, finding out something and needing to get on your horse and gallop to the next village to bring that information to another community. So it's the exchange of information, all funneling towards the purpose of broadening intellectual horizons, broadening the experience of what is known. So this week is all about broadening our idea of what is possible, We've been talking about Gemini and Sagittarius in my last couple videos because we had Mars in opposition to Jupiter, and then we had Mercury in opposition to Jupiter. Now we have the Sun in opposition to Jupiter. So this is a week where we can get some crystallization around some of the tug and the pull and the struggle of, do I go this direction or do I go that direction? Do I want this type of life or do I want that type of life? This is a week where we can really relish in the adventure of that pursuit that we've been talking about, being experimental, being okay with the unknown, being excited about the unknown. And with the square to Neptune, and I think because of the opposition to Jupiter, this can be a week where people want to break out of the density and let loose a little bit. So this might be going after any kind of experience that helps us escape a little bit and enjoy the wild ride. Sagittarius is very psychedelic. Psychedelic or transcendental spiritual experiences, of course, are the pursuit of more knowledge. They can be a little bit of escapism. But ultimately it's seeking more answers. And Sagittarius is about seeking answers to the big questions. This is a very spiritual, for lack of a better word, full moon, because it's in Sagittarius, which is one of the most spiritual signs of the zodiac, because it's concerned with the connection between the individual human being soul within a human avatar and what the connection is between that individual fractal of the soul and the oversoul, or the one divine one, whatever that is. Sag is trying to figure out what that is and be closer and more connected to it. So both Gemini and Sagittarius are in essence after similar things. This is the lower mind and the higher mind. Gemini is analytical, logical, data-based, and Sagittarius is intuition. It's the gut feeling. It's knowing that, there are certain things we can't empirically explain, but we just somehow know it anyway. So this can be a week where we really tap into our intuition. This is a very social energy because Gemini and Sag are both very social. But there's another aspect that's pretty different from all of that happening this week, and that is Mercury and Mars in Cancer. So we've been talking a little bit about this aspect. It's not the funnest one to talk about, and I think that many people that are going through a challenging time are experiencing this aspect right here. Mars and Mercury in Cancer. Brief review. It's a place of increased vulnerability, nostalgia, being emotional. Cancer is concerned with wanting to feel safe and secure. Cancer is the little child in each and every one of us that wants to go running to mommy or daddy when it feels scared. And it's the search for security or the search to feel loved and safe. So those two, Mercury and Mars, are going to come closer to the North Node this week. And the big deal about it is that this week on Friday the 14th, Mars in Cancer will directly oppose Saturn in Capricorn. So why is this annoying? Well, because Mars is our drive and Saturn is restriction. Saturn is restriction, regulation, it's order, it's rules, it's being told no. Mars does not want to be told no. Mars wants to go. It wants to push ahead. It wants to push forward. Saturn says, wait, you can't. So Mars opposition Saturn is a aspect that's associated with, at the very least, some kind of frustration because it's being limited in some way. Whether it be being told no by an authority figure, or encountering a situation where your will is being blocked in some way. So it's interesting that this aspect happens around Father's Day, because a lot of people will be going home to see their families or thinking about family. And family is where we see the South Node in Capricorn played out, because it's the older generation, which is the South Node in Capricorn, the patriarchy, the government, the old system. And the North Node in Cancer, as we've been talking about, is the dissolving of that system and coming into a place of authenticity regarding acknowledging what our actual needs are. So I said at the very least it could be frustrating. For some people, this is being very generous with my words, because this is also, to be honest, a aspect that's associated with volatile aggression and irritation, because on some level Mars is being told what to do. It's a aspect that's associated with boundaries, needing to assert boundaries, wanting to break out of some kind of boundary. And again, because it's Mars in Cancer, it has to do with wanting to come into a place where we are more true to ourselves, taking care of ourselves, rather than listening to the duties, obligations, or structure of authority or an old system. So again, I think it's interesting that it's around Father's Day and the full moon in Sag, again, which will be kind of on Sunday and Monday, because it happens in the middle of the night. So a lot of people are going to be with their family or thinking about family. And Sagittarius, the full moon is in Sag, is about truth. And it's square to Neptune, which is cutting through illusion. This is who I really am. Or on the quest to find out who I am, I really need to do... Oh. Bummer. On the quest to find out who I am, I really need to be this person or do this. And I'm coming into even more of a realization of who that person is. And being vulnerable and perhaps emotional while we express those things. Mars in Cancer, like we've been talking about, super emotional, super expressive. Mars in Cancer cries really easily. And like we've also been talking about, can be kind of defensive. So you can see how this week is full of a lot of positivity, because Sag is really positive. But it's also full of more of this process of breaking down and tending to some wounding around childhood, around self-love, around vulnerability. A lot of this has to do with learning to love ourselves better. We also have Venus sextiling Chiron this week, which is about, well, Venus is coming in to help us heal our wounds. And so that's awesome. And then we have Mars trining Neptune. Mars in Cancer trining Neptune in Pisces. I think that happens on Thursday-ish. That's great, because while it's kind of an emotional, also somewhat psychedelic transit, it helps us come into a place of remembering that we are all one. It's collective consciousness. It's very empathic. So yeah, very, very groundbreaking week. It can be a breakdown, breakthrough type of a thing. And just to reiterate what the dates are for those who are wondering, Friday the 14th is when Mars will be in exact opposition to Saturn. And then remember, we're not out of the woods, because next week we're going to have Mars oppose Pluto exact. Yeah, so pretty awesome. Like I said, Sag is the seeker. So it's a week where we really get to seek some new truths regarding who we are and what we're doing, and coming into a place of more honesty about that, despite who may have an issue with that, even if that's just an aspect of ourselves. All right, you guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed the music in the background of this video, as always, I will put the link down below. And if you would like to reach out to me for a reading, I will put my email down there as well. I am available for that all month. All right, you guys, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video.